Hello, can you hear me now? This is crazy. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. Doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you go, it just matters that you're here right now. And tonight we're going to be talking about flock safety. So let's get right to it. I started the show earlier, and then people told me my sound. I checked everything, I rebooted, and now we are back. So hopefully everybody's going to be back and we can did this. And if it's not, then you can go ahead and watch it later. So let's do the show the way we always do. This right here is the greatest document ever written. We, the people, the Constitution. You're sharing the planet. Holy smokes. You're sharing the planet with 8,310,000,000 people. We are at $39 trillion in debt. Is this crazy or what? Oh, it's so frustrating. This is frustrating, man. I just started. I am so sorry, everybody. If you started with me, we had a big audience, and hopefully, thank you very much, Darla. Let me get the chat up. I wasn't watching the chat. All right, so I'm back. Hopefully, I got somebody with me. Thank you very much. All you guys have to do is add subtitles to that, and I can be saying anything in the world. Just want to let you know. So, welcome back to the big show. I'm so sorry. But this is Mickey in the Middle. We don't pay attention to the 20% of the crazies on the right or the 20% of the crazies on the right. This show is about middle Americans to make middle Americans better. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did 10 minutes, 15 minutes without anybody hearing it. So, all right, let's go back to it. I'm going to start all over. We're going to talk about where Flock came from. We're going to talk where Flock is right now. We're going to talk about the agencies that made me determine what I determined about Flock cameras and about where we're going in the future. This is important. This is probably one of the most important conversations that you're ever going to have about your safety and about your community. The reason is about Flock safety and how it started. So Flock safety started a bunch of years ago. Matter of fact, they're in so many cities right now, you wouldn't even believe it. But the technology started before that. You remember when they came up with the radar gun and making law enforcement's job easier? Hey, how fast are they doing? Hey, we came up with a radar gun. Hey, what about forensic pathology and forensics so that we can have the tools in order to solve crimes? Well, that's where Flock cameras basically came from. Flock cameras came from, hey, Flock camera came out and said, hey, you know what? If somebody commits a crime and we put a camera up and they drive by the camera, we can see who it is. We can find out where they're going. And then we can get law enforcement to descend on that area. And then as soon as they descend on the area, we can catch them quicker. And it works. They find people all the time. They solve murders all the time. They get robberies all the time. I got a list of things right here. I'm going to read from you. This happened in the last year here in my little town of Cabot, Arkansas. It says that the 7 stolen vehicles were recovered, 19 arrests for the following crimes: capital murder. Yeah. So they made an arrest for capital murder, theft of property, felony of theft by receiving, assault, felony warrants, misdemeanor warrants, hit and runs, failed to register as a sex offender, and a fugitive was extradited to Texas on a felony warrant after they found him. That's just in my little town. We have 30,000 people in my little town. That's what happened. This is the official report from our police department. That's what happened. Flock cameras solve crimes. So, what's the problem with that? So, what is the problem with that? Well, the problem is that first it was implemented across states, and state troopers started using it. I got to find my notes. Where are my notes? Where are my notes? All right, here are my notes. So, here's who's using this: sheriff departments, municipalities, state law enforcement, schools, tribal police, school police, transit authorities, HOAs, private communities, and individual businesses. Also, HOAs. And communities, private communities. Now, we got a couple here. You might have heard of the Villages down in Florida. I don't know whether they use flock cameras, but that's like a private community. They have their own little police force. They applied to the state. They got permission to have boundaries and have police and run their own thing. They're like a town, except they're a private community. Same thing is Hot Spring Village, same one. But here are 3 examples of communities that are private that use this technology. Shavano in San Antonio, Pacific Ridge in Southern California, and Rough Hollow down in, I think that's in Texas too. So anyway, those are private communities. The reason I bring that up is 5,000, count them, 5,000 municipalities now are using flock cameras. It did not hurt when the state police used them and they put them in random stops on highways. But I'm going to tell you what happened to a friend of mine recently. And I don't know how it happened. I have no idea how this happened. But we were talking the other night, and he said that when he was making trips from Florida to Arkansas, and he was making the trip quite frequently because he had a girlfriend up here, that one time he got stopped in a town between Florida and Arkansas. And they were like, "Hey, bud, what are you doing?" And he wasn't speeding or anything. They were like, "Hey, man, we're stopping you just to see what you're doing." He goes, "What do you mean you stop me to see what I'm doing?" They're like, "Well, you come by here quite a bit." And he went, "Yeah, because I'm getting to my girlfriend." And they were like, "Yeah, well, can we search your car?" Clint Eastwood made a movie of it. I don't know what the movie is, but where he was an old man and he was in a truck and he was driving from point A to point B. Anyway, they profiled that person. They profile vehicles. So they're already getting the technology from somewhere, because I know that they do stops out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, all the way to Little Rock. They do it through Texas. They do it through Oklahoma. They do it in Albuquerque, New Mexico, south of there and north of there on all the major. They track all the vehicles that are on there. I don't know whether they're using flock, but they could be using flock. All I'm saying is that they have a technology to find out who's doing what, when, where, and why. Then they stop those vehicles and they go, "Hey, can we search you?" And people go, "Yes, you can search me." The next thing you know, they're searching the vehicle and they find the drugs and they go, "Hey, look here, this works." So the idea behind flock cameras was to stop crime. Who doesn't want to stop crime? Everybody wants to stop crime. All right. So, but that's the start of flock cameras. That's just the start. So what happens when 5,000 municipalities or 5,000 organizations all have these cameras operating? And there's tens of thousands of these cameras. Now, does it feel like you're being watched? You have the right to privacy. But that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is, as a collective, do they have the right to know where everybody's going or the locations on a map that everybody passes? Because you can profile people that way. And that's what the problem is. So the problem isn't necessarily the fact that you have a camera and people drive by and they read a license plate. The problem then becomes, what happens when you have too many cameras? Can they put one across from your house? Can they put one down the street? How many cameras does it take before you feel like you're being followed? Because if you have enough cameras, that means that they can see what you're doing all the time. Are you going to Home Depot like we have? Are you going to Lowe's like we have? Are you going to Rockwood Center? We got cameras over there too. So when you combine all of them together and you take Sherwood, Jacksonville, Cabot, Austin, Ward, Beebe, Searcy, now you have a profile of where all these people are going. And here's the thing is, they say that you don't have a right to privacy. Well, here's what the Constitution says. Constitution in Amendment 4 says, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effect against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly described in the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." So they're not searching you, they're just following you. I need to repeat that. If they were just seeing where you were going and not storing any data, that would be different, but now they're storing data. So remember when I described earlier, if a crook drives by a camera and they read the license plate and they go, hey, there goes our crook. Let's go get him. But they take that data and they keep it for 30 days. Or do they? Because I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about that in just a second too. They say that the municipalities have access to the data for 30 days, and then after that, it's erased. Are we sure that it's being erased? I don't know. But let's get back to the search and seizure thing. Because the 9th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is what everybody's missing here. The 9th Amendment to the Constitution says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And what that means is, yes, you have the right to, let's go over some of the amendments, right? Congress to make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise of them or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people to assemble and petition the government for grievances, having the right to bear arms, no soldier shall be in a house, the right of the people to be secure in their stuff, no person shall be held to answer to a capital offense, otherwise or infamous crime, unless on presentation of indictment to a jury, etc., etc., etc. Goes on and on and on. The 9th Amendment to the Constitution says those are not the only freedoms and rights that you have, that the people can have other rights. And I believe the right to not be followed is a big one. It's a huge one. I don't want the government watching me. So it's against searches and seizures, but I also don't want anybody following me. Do you have a phone? Do you have anybody? Are you tracking anybody on your phone? Is there anybody in your phone that you are connected with that you follow? Well, have you ever asked them whether they like being followed? Because eventually they don't want to be followed. Ask me, I've had a teenage girl. She was absolutely wonderful. She never asked me not to track her. But here's the deal is, I felt creepy following her. I was like, man, sometimes I just need to leave her alone. Sometimes I just need to, man, that's invading her privacy. You have the right to be secure in your papers and effects, but you also have the right to expect some privacy and not to have a government agency follow you around. That's what the problem is. It's the government. You know what the government has? The government has the right to arrest and the right to detain and the right to imprison. That's what the government does to keep us safe from the criminals. And if they can, sorry, I had to go pick up my Constitution. I dropped it. If they can follow you, if they're following you, how many times have you sped? How many times have you done something wrong and you've gone, oh, I'm sorry about that, right? So in common law, and this is important, in common law, you used to have somebody that was injured. That means that you did something against them. So you disparaged them, you punched them, you stole from them, you murdered them. It was, you had to do something to somebody else. And now, the insane people in our world said, hey, look here, it doesn't matter whether you actually harm somebody else. You can harm society. You can harm the people. You can harm the state. That's why if you're in the middle of nowhere on a 4-lane highway, there's no traffic within 100 miles of you, and you are exceeding the speed limit, they can pull you over because you're a danger and a danger to the safety of humanity. You're not endangering anybody. There's nobody within 100 miles of you. And all of a sudden you're speeding and they're like, hey, we got you, bitch. Yeah, it's this. We got you. Here's what the deal is. They got you. The problem is that you don't have to commit an offense against anybody now in order to be thrown in jail. This extends to, do you remember what happened during COVID? COVID's very important. The reason COVID's important is because they changed the laws. Could you imagine them putting a camera on a street with multiple churches when they said you can't go to church? That if you went to your holy place, you would be tagged, your license would be read, and they could come and get you for violating the law because some jerks made a law that said you're not allowed to go to church. You can go riot. You go riot, but you can't go to church. You got to wear a mask. So if they had these cameras, let's talk about technology. Technology is also changing. So it might have been a license plate reader, but now we can take any picture and we can run it through AI analysis and it can pull certain things out of there. It can call facial recognition. It can come up with the way that people walk. AI is absolutely amazing. And they don't even need any special cameras to do that. They just need a video or a picture and they'll be able to tell you almost everything about you. And then they take that data, they run it through facial recognition program. Facial recognition program spits out a name. They go and research your history online because they can find out a lot of stuff without even using any government stuff. They can go out there. My wife found a criminal that broke into our house one time by going to his girlfriend's page. And when she called the cops and said, hey, you need to go arrest this person, they were like, well, we can't find him. And she says, why don't you just look at his girlfriend's page? They're coming back from Las Vegas on Tuesday. You can take a lot of data. You can get the facial recognition. If you put one and two together, you do some detective work, all of a sudden now you can do it. AI has changed the game because now they can take pictures, now they can take video, and they can change the game. Which gets us to the next step, which is how can this be abused in the future? Because I'm going to tell you right now, my trust level of the United States government and other entities is very, very, very low. Somebody said that the CIA assassinated Kennedy. I don't know whether that's true or not, but here's what the deal is. I wouldn't put it past them. The CIA has been abusive for years. The FBI has been abusive for years. The IRS has been abusive for years. They target different individuals based on what their political leanings are, and then they go after those people. This is another way to do that. And in the future, if you have all of these cameras around, do you really think that I trust the big tech companies to do the right thing? Because I don't. I got a list. I got a list right here of companies that right now I don't trust, but I have to use, right? Google, Facebook, Meta, Apple. Any of those names sound familiar to you? Where they told you one thing, they're like, oh, hell, we're going to make your life a lot easier by using this. And then way down in the user agreement, it said, oh, yeah, we're also going to use your data to help market things to you. That means sell your data. They're going to sell your data to other companies so that they can target you. How many people have been put in a position where they're getting scam phone calls? I recently applied for a loan so that I can open up a business. And now all of a sudden, everything I'm getting is on my phone is I am getting text after text and email after email about people wanting to loan me money at a low interest rate that's going to help my brother out. Really? How in the world did they get all of that data on me? And why am I being specifically targeted using my emails and my telephone numbers, which, by the way, is traceable right to my house? That means that somebody can come and target me. The same thing is I don't trust those agencies to do the right thing. We know that flock camera safety systems have been abused. So our mayor, being proactive, said, hey, look here, I see what the conversation is. We are going to cover our flock cameras. We're going to disconnect them from the power source. We're going to have a conversation in our town. His name is King Kincaid. I like him a lot. I like what he's done for Cabot, but I also like the way that he's taken a stand on flock cameras. Mayflower, Arkansas, recently decommissioned them. Several other towns in Arkansas are decommissioning them, and all across the country. Why? Because liberty and safety have to be balanced. The question is when does it get out of balance? Well, the totality is what happened. The totality. It's such a big program that they want to have flock cameras everywhere. Carolyn, hey, how you doing? Robert, hey, Robert. Hey, Chief, how you doing? He says, nothing on the cloud is ever really gone. I don't have a problem with law enforcement using license plate readers, but it should be limited to cross-check plate numbers to any outstanding warrants with no data retention. That's it. I 100% agree with you. 100% agree. No retention, zero, no retainability, nothing. You want to take a picture of a time and space, that is great. But beyond that, it's it. You gotta go try harder. Here's the deal is you gotta do some police work. So here's where we are now. I'm in Cabot, Arkansas. I was invited to go down to Cabot Police Department and see their flock system and see how it operates and get their reports and the things that you can turn on and the things that you can turn off. And they had turned off their entire system, so they're not letting any outside agency or themselves have any access to the data. They covered up the cameras and they disconnected them from the solar power that was generating them. And it says, in accordance with our departmental policy and procedures regarding the use of license plate readers, this letter is to meet the requirement of Section 7, which is reports, subsection A, and shall be preserved for 18 months. This report is sufficient to allow the public to view upon request. They're very transparent here in Cabot. Total number of license plates scanned, 8,040,239. List that the data was checked against include the National Crime Information Center, NCIC, and Arkansas Crime Information Center. There were 688 matches through those two agencies that had a positive alert in one or more of the lists above. There was one match that did not correlate to the alert, aka a false hit. Then I had the list of all the things that they did, which was 7 stolen vehicles, capital murder, theft of property, etc., etc. Here's my take. I kind of like what Robert said. Here's the thing. He's a smart man. Check it against the database, move on. But also, I think that we should have limited numbers of these cameras. I don't think that we should have them all over the place, and I don't think that they need to be intermingling with private citizens. And I think that the data needs to be very, very, very heavily deleted, if not getting rid of the systems altogether. The problem is the enormity of the system, which gets me to my last point. What's the future? What's the future? If we let this go on and they put cameras everywhere, we are all screwed. We're all screwed. It doesn't matter whether you're right, doesn't matter whether you're left, doesn't matter whether you are middle American, whether you're, it doesn't matter. Because when they change the laws or they change the context of the ability to use AI, which is all possible in the future, we're all screwed in 25 years. We're all screwed. We got to stop this now. Hey, Siri, how many cities are in the United States of America? Oh, Siri didn't answer me. There's a bunch of cities. There's 5,000 municipalities and agencies using these currently. 5,000. Just imagine when it's 15,000. How about 25,000? Everybody gets 10 cameras. They take your tax dollars to fund them, and then they take those, and then they change the laws that say that you can't go to church, you have to wear a mask, or you're not allowed to do this, or you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to drive it. You're not allowed to drive a vehicle that's more than 5 years old. They could do that. They're now putting automatic, Congress has passed a law that says that every car will have a kill switch in it. Why do they want to do that? Why do they want to know where everybody is? Why do they want to have all of this technology that's run by AI? Let me tell you about my truck. My truck tells me that I'm not holding on to the steering wheel all the time when I am holding on to the steering wheel. I'll be driving down somewhere and my truck will tell me that I'm going to sleep and to pull over. And I'm like, the hell are you talking about going to sleep? My truck tries to stop me from getting in accidents when I'm not even close to getting in an accident. I got a 22 Ford F-150. I love the truck, but I hate that technology that they're putting in it that thinks that it knows how to drive better than me being in the seat. And you don't think that they're going to abuse kill switches or they're going to abuse the technology like that by selling it to your insurance company and by tracking your eye movement and determining without a breathalyzer, without a search warrant, without anything about how you conduct yourself, and they're going to be able to put a kill switch in your vehicle? They're putting a kill switch in your vehicle because they're trying to set you up so that you can't drive in the wrong place. They go, hey, look here, we're going to shut down Washington, D.C. They just hit the button and everything in Washington, D.C. stops driving. That's what they're going to do. They're going to use the cameras inside of the cars to go watch you all the damn time. They know who's driving. They know it's a surveillance state. This is not about right now. This is about how we are going to act as middle Americans about the surveillance state in the future. We have to stop it now. I love our country. I love the protections we have. I also love the 9th Amendment to the Constitution, which I will repeat says the enumerations in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people, and leave me the fuck alone is a big one. Pardon my language. Siri says 4,000 major cities, not including surrounding municipalities. Thank you very much. So there's 4,000 major cities. And then if you ask about towns, we got 50 states. The number of towns is in the multiple thousands, right? I just want to say, by the way, Darla, thank you very much for sending me that text. I was not reading the text, but I read your comments, so thank you very much on the sound. Hey, do me a favor. This is a very, very important topic. It's about our privacy and about the future of us and our children and our grandchildren and the state that they're going to be living in. And it's about how they treat and are treated by their government. Because here's what the deal is. We have to be suspicious of our government. They can change the rules whenever they want to. All they have to do is take a vote, and you're outvoted. That's the way the government works. They can determine that something is a crime, and then once they determine that it is a crime, they can come and get you. This is a constitution. It's not changeable. You can change the Constitution of the United States of America. Heck, we did that with prohibition, right? We did it with, what was it, 19? There's 18. There's 9. The right of citizen, not that. Oh, wait a minute. That's 14. I don't know. We got rid of alcohol, then we brought it back. So that means Constitution's changeable. All right. So anyway, this has been Mickey in the Middle. Like, share, hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for helping me out when I got to a slow start today. I'll edit the video. I'll go ahead and put it out there later. But share this information with everybody because I cannot tell you how important it is. But this has been Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for middle Americans, where all middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been or where you're going. It just matters that you're here right now. Like, share, hit the notification bell. I love you. You guys all be good.